Hey there everybody, it's Mark here again with exoticcarplayplace. Today I'm going to explain to you what 2017 represented for me for the use of my Lamborghini Gallardo and the maintenance costs, or basically just general service costs of that car for the year. Now, first let me put this on the table. I did use the car a fair amount, although I didn't use it a lot. I probably put, I would say 2,000 to 3,000 kilometers on the car this year, which isn't a whole lot. So if you break that down into terms of miles per dollar, you'll get a pretty quick idea how much it costs to maintain and operate and own and run one of these Lambo Gallardos for a 1 year time frame. So we're going to talk about that 1 year time frame, what that looks like. So I did get a chance to use my car quite a bit this year, a lot more than I would say I have in the last several years on the Gallardo. But I do need to explain to you guys that these are kind of the typical operating costs. And I know I've shared with you in the past basically the maintenance schedule for a Lamborghini Gallardo. But what I'm doing is I'm staggering some of these maintenance items because I'm not hitting the miles. I'm not hitting the milestones because I'm not using the car that much. I'm actually hitting more, doing it based on more on the mileage. So I'm going to tackle a lot of my maintenance items, offset them, do a few things this year. The next year I'll do some different next year and keep leapfrogging like that. And ensure I do all the proper maintenance on the car. The car is very well serviced, and I would say in most general cases, way far beyond what the requirements really are based on the manufacturer's instructions. But beyond that, let's get moving on that, everybody. I'm going to explain to you not just from a maintenance standpoint, but upgrades and just operating costs, what it cost me this year. And hopefully this gives you some information if you're looking at buying one of these early Lambos. Now, people ask me, how reliable is it? How often has this failed on you? Or has that broken on you? Or have these been a problem area for you in this car? Well, I want to start out by saying, firstly, the prices I'm going to be giving you are basically based on maintenance tasks and upgrades. Fortunately, this year, I really haven't had any substantial repairs or issues of breakdowns, fortunately. What I have done though, however, is done a few pieces, and I'm going to explain that, break it down right now. So the first thing I talk about is the exhaust system. As you guys all know, who have been following me for a while, I've done a recent exhaust upgrade. I've done the 2B exhaust on there. I did it myself, so you could probably assume at least double the cost. These prices, everything I'm listing to you is my cost for the parts. Everything I've done on this list so far today that I'm going to explain to you is parts only. So typically, labor is typically, the same price as parts. That would be a good rule of thumb. So I'm going to explain today, we're talking about $3,500 is the implied value of the exhaust system. Now, if you've seen that video of mine, that I was sponsored for that. So I'm not going to get into how much or what the deal was there. That's not really what this video is about. I just want to say that exhaust system is worth about $3,500, and you can assume that kind of money if you're looking at doing a muffler upgrade on the Gallardo. The next thing I did, of course, as you saw another one of my videos, I did the fuel filters. Well, there's two fuel filters, and if you want to see more about that, how I did it, and what it actually takes to do that job, by all means, check out one of my videos. I did it not too long back, actually. I did it here in the fall.
That off
just before winter, before the snow fell. But there's two fuel filters. There's one driver's side, one passenger side. It's a little bit of a job to do this task because it means taking a lot of parts out of there. It's a little bit invasive, and to be honest, for the safety aspect, you want to make sure you do all the right things and get the right parts in place, like rings, O-rings, things like that. Make sure you're torquing everything right to proper specifications. But again, the parts I spent there were $240 for the cost of the filters. Again, if you were to get a shop to do that, you might as well assume at least $500 to do a set of fuel filters in the shop. Now, air filters. Air filters are the other ones. I threw a quick couple of air filters in there. That also is not a real complicated job. It's actually one of the easiest things you can do on a Gallardo, but it still meant you had to take the covers off and flip the boots back that tie in with the throttle bodies. A little bit of a job. You need some basic hand tools, but the labor would probably be pretty minimal on this. The parts for the fuel filter or for the air filters were about $100 all in for a pair of air filters, factory OEM air filters. I didn't go with the aftermarket stuff. I'm a believer in the OEM spec stuff. Generally, for general engine maintenance materials, I always go with the standard OEM products. Then the other thing, and you'll see if you've been watching, again, another task I've done by myself, I might say. So if you've taken it to the shop, you might as well assume at least double this, possibly even more. But the cost for oil change, so I did the oil filters and the oil change itself, which I used Mobil 1 full synthetic oil in that car.
Okay, it never hurts to do a quick inspection, see if you've got any filings or anything in between the pleats.
So the full change there costed me $180 for the materials and all that fun stuff. Like I said, you might as well count double that. You're probably going to say $300 to $400 for an oil change if you took your car to the dealership. Lastly, I want to mention is that you've probably seen way back in the summertime, I actually did a decal for the roof of my car. You see, I did that big, wonderful Lamborghini decal that fits right on top of the roof. That wasn't really that easy of a job. Now, I basically put a dollar amount of $100 on that because of you count labor to design the logo, count labor to install it, and the vinyl itself was not that expensive. But I had to do it a couple times because the first decal I messed up. So it's a bit of a complex decal to put on a car like that, but I did manage to do that, and with the materials and count some time in there for design, I counted $100. So let's count $100 for that decal install. Now, before we get to the final tally, I don't want to get into the wear and tear on the tires, the wear and tear on the brakes, the wear and tear on anything, because you don't know what's going on inside the motor, the gearbox. The best you can do is maintenance. So I'm assuming minimal wear and tear on any of those items because mostly freeway and highway driving this year. It's never been on the track. So I would say those items would be very minimal. So we're not talking about the deterioration or wear and tear on that. We're also not going to talk about insurance costs because I had a previous video that I talked about that. And if you want to learn more about how much to insure a Lamborghini Gallardo, please check out that video. But really, we're just going to summarize and say the total bill, ownership bill for my Lamborghini Gallardo this summer was, what was it? $4,120. That's what it cost me to own and operate that car this year. Again, we're not talking about insurance or fuel or wear on the tires and brakes. We're going to exclude all those things. We'll hit those when we see those things. If I'm ready to put a new set of tires on, I will include that in that year's maintenance costs. And this is going to be ongoing rolling cost capture for all these items. So if you guys subscribe to my channel, you're going to watch me through the lifetime of the car, the ownership of this car, and see what those costs are, what this car puts me through, the enjoyment factor I get from the car. You're going to learn everything about it. So definitely make sure you do subscribe. I hope you liked the video. And in summary, do come back. Don't forget to share a comment below, and we'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.